Hello and welcome to our fourth edition in the series Re-elect Donald Ramotar. I'm your host Romel Roopnarine, and on today's program I have a very special guest. He is a national candidate of the People's Progressive Party. I'm very fortunate to introduce to you Pastor Patrick Findlay, and he is from the Full Life New Testament Church of God, which is located at Monrepo on the east coast of Demerara. Welcome to the program, Pastor.
Hey, thank you, Romel. This is really a great opportunity for me to sit with you on this program, and thank you.
So let us start the ball rolling. Let me ask you, why is it you decided to come on board with the People's Progressive Party and President Donald Ramotar?
Well, it's a long story, but I know we only have limited time here. But I wanna begin by saying, as a pastor, there's a divine mandate. There's an obligation for me from the scriptures, taken from Romans chapter 13, for instance, where the Bible says that all appointed authority is of God. There is no authority that is not of God. So every authority, and in this case, the president, has been appointed by God. The Bible says if we resist authority, then we bring judgment on our own selves. I can also quote from 2 Timothy chapter 1, chapter 2, where it talks about honoring authority and everything else. And so for me, from a Christian perspective, all I was doing was recognizing and acknowledging the fact that the president is appointed by God, and my duty as a Christian is to honor that authority and to pray for that authority and to, in every way and in any way, help that authority that has been placed there by God to fulfill His mandate. And so I decided to get involved from that perspective, because I realized there is something that I could do as a Christian, as a child of God, as a son of God. I can do something. I cannot stand on the outside and talk of change or be critical of the doings of those that has been there without getting involved. It would be unfair to me to say that you did not do a good job when I didn't give you my shoulder to lean on. It would be unfair of me to say that you have in the vernacular that we have, to give you no confidence vote if I did not contribute or try to help or
Be
to
the
lend.
change that you
Yes,
want to see.
correct, like Mahatma Gandhi would say. And so I decided against all odds, because I don't know what's happening here in Guyana. For me, if you get involved in politics on the other side of the spectrum, you're good, you're cool, you're doing great. But if you're a Christian or a pastor and you get involved with the PPP, then suddenly it becomes ungodly. And I'm saying that cannot be, because I believe in God. I'm a strong believer in God, and I believe God don't make mistakes. I believe God knows what's happening, and if God allowed this servant of His, as the Bible says, this man to be there, then God knows what He's doing. So if I am on this side of the wall, then yes, you're doing great. You're a good man of God. If you're anti-government, if you're anti-PPP, then you're fine. And I'm saying that doesn't make sense. When the Bible tells me that I have a bounden duty and obligation as a believer to honor those who are in authority, and to resist that authority is to resist God's ordinance. And added to that, the fact that it brings judgment on yourself. Now, I don't want judgment on me. So I have gone ahead and supported, and I have posted on my wall. I said, listen, I don't have no bones with anybody. If you want to vote whoever, wherever, whenever, that's your business. But for me and my house, we are going to support the PPP, because fundamentally we've seen development. I really cannot understand through which lenses these people speak of when they talk about there is no development. I mean, I'm flabbergasted because everywhere I go, look, I brought in a friend. Friend came to my house and we were traveling along the East Bank Highway. He said, wow, this place is developed. My wife's great aunt came from Canada, and she comes to stay with us every winter time because it's cold. So she came last year. She came, and in her old age, she's saying there is so much development. She goes to the hospital. She goes to the doctor's office. Come back. She says, this is better than where she goes. So everywhere there is development. Mind you, I am not supporting the re-election of Donald Ramotar because he's perfect. I am not supporting the re-election of Donald Ramotar because they have done everything right. No, I am not supporting the re-election of this government and the continuity of them being there because they have fulfilled every promise. No, I said that to people. My house, my church, we make promises that we cannot deliver. We do things that we're not. We have people in place who have embarrassed us. So I am not supporting them because they're A-OK and everything is super and glamorous and everything else. But for me, to have a change at this time is going to be detrimental because we have so many things in the pipeline, so many things are happening, so many things is going on that to disrupt that, it's going to be chaotic. I mean, I've seen them, I've watched them grow, I've watched them deliver, I've watched them grow the economy. My understanding is that Guyana is the only country in the Caribbean that has maintained or sustained growth of 4.5%. When everybody is borrowing money, Jamaica is borrowing money to pay their people, Barbados is in trouble. All of these people are in trouble. And yet, we are maintaining and we are growing at a rate of 4.5%. We're managing the economy. We're doing well. This thing of the last year when the Minister of Education gave $10,000 to every household. I was vexed. I was vexed, I'll tell you why. Because I have 6 children. And during my 6 years, my time of sending my kids, they had nothing like that. But I've seen people rejoice. I've been around, I've traveled. People rejoice at the fact that there's this money. I was in Region 8 and these people are saying, yeah, we should have get this money every month. But it says, fine. We want to give it every day if we can. But it's a start. It's the only country in the Caribbean that gives money to the people to assist in their children. Well, you know the story. It's not only $10,000. We have meals that the kids are getting. I've traveled, I've seen that happen. We've got uniform. Come on. I mean, what else? What else? I mean, for the last 3 years. Remember, I'm no politician, I just do the work of God, and I'm there. For the last 3 years, they cut $8 to $9 billion. I say to people, the opposition has tied our hands, the government's hands, and tell them to draw a picture. They've tied their feet and tell them to run. They've blindfolded them and told them to walk straight. And when they can't walk straight and they can't draw and they can't write and they can't walk, then you turn back and tell them they're no good. That doesn't make sense. I've got children, and if I say to my son, I blindfold him, tell his son run and he can't run, I tell you stupid, you're crazy, you're dunce because you can't draw, and I tie your hand, and I tell him to run and he can't because I tie his foot. It'd be really unethical and unfair of me to demand so much when their hands and their feet have been strapped, and that is what happened. But in spite of all of that, and that's why a guy like Ashley Singh is my hero. He's my hero. In spite of all of that, this guy was still able. He risked his freedom. He risked everything. He says, I don't care what is it. I am going to put back this thing to make it work. And that for me is a big one. I am not into character assassination. No, I'm not going to get into those things. But I'm telling you, I have seen enough of development. And like a big man, I'm there now, we can't live on promises. You can't live on promises. My job in the human service, in the social sector, people come to me, they got domestic troubles, no? They got problems with their families, and this woman said to me, she said, Pastor, I done left my husband, you know. I said, sure. He said, yes. I done left my husband. I said, why? He says, because he's abusive and, you know, he's bad and he this. I says, well, the house that you live in is yours? He says, yes. Who built it? He says, my husband. Your husband has a job? She says, yes. I says, but you will leave him? He said, yes. But while she's talking to me, she has an affair with somebody else who has made promises to her. And she's weighing the promises to the reality. She's forgetting that this guy gave her this house and this guy has a job. And this man is on the outside and he's promising her, I'll take care of you and I'll this and I'll that. And then she leaves her husband. She leaves her husband for all these years. You follow? She leaves her husband for all these years because I'm not condoning abuse. No, no, no. She leaves her husband for all these years because of the promise of a man that she don't know. Leaves her husband. Take the man. And lo and behold, after she left this husband, if I can talk like that, after she leave this guy and takes this one with promises, then she realizes that this guy was full of promises. He ain't got nothing but promises. And then now tries to get back with her husband. It's too late. It's too late. And that's, for me, is the scenario we're looking at. I don't want to hear promises. I can't. I mean, maybe I'm too big, I'm too mature. You know, young people might go. But for me, promises are comfort of food. I want to see things, and I'm seeing that. Like I said, I am not on the PPP slate and rooting for them because they're perfect. No. And they say that. I'm not saying that they've done everything right, and they say that. But come on, man. Let your conscience be your guide, is what I say to people. You've got to weigh everything out. And if if for real you don't see any development, then I say, look, that's okay. But let your conscience be a guide. And I have to let my conscience be my guide. That's what I've been doing. I've seen change. Do I want to see more? Yes. I am not where I want to be. I am not where we think. We're not where we want to be. But watch me. We're not where we used to be. We're in a journey, and we've got to be appreciative. We've got to be appreciative of the fact. I was going to Linden the other day, and I said to my wife, I says, look, I said, you see this road where we're driving on here? This was a trench. This was a trench in our vernacular. This is a trench, and we and the government have seen it to fill up this trench that used to be nobody. If my grandmother came back from her grave, if my father-in-law came back from his grave, and we drive, he would never believe that one day he would be driving on a place that used to be trench. We have done that, fill it up, made a highway out of there because we realize we've got to make more room for people to traverse. The vehicles in this country is crazy. So for me, Romel, I've seen progress, bro. I don't know if everybody's seen through my lenses. I know if everybody's seen through, and I don't have no fancy glasses. I don't know if everybody's seeing like I'm seeing, but we have seen progress, and we want progress to continue. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I am on this program today. Re-elect Donald Ramotar. I mean, if we can go to him as a person, I think he's a noble guy. Trust me. He's so cool. I mean, he's not this rowdy fighter. You know, sometimes people think he's crazy. He's too soft. That's what they will say. But I like him because he understands people. He's come from this noble, humble beginnings, and he is theirs. I hear people call him all kind of things. You know, you should be more strict, more. But that's who he is, and that's, to me, that's the kind of person we want. Somebody you can meet and talk to, and try to help in any way, and try to maximize people's potential. Boy, that's what I'm talking about.
He is clearly a father figure for this nation.
Yeah, man.
And obviously you need someone, especially in the leadership of this nation, you need someone who is slow to anger, someone who is mature,
Yep.
someone who sees the bigger picture. And almost every single time, that is what I admire about him. He has been proven correct. For instance, and he has been very good. For instance, he has shown that he is exceptionally smart, strategic. For instance, we know what happened with the opposition in the prorogation, the threat of no confidence, and they did not expect what he would have come with next.
Exactly.
Right? He has also done a lot of things to show up the opposition. When he put forward a lot of things, like for instance, the Procurement Commission, he was willing to go ahead. Had they agreed to one little
Yeah.
clause in the bill,
That's the thing.
right? The local government reform. He pointed out where it was unconstitutional. It's not like he wasn't willing to sign it. He
Exactly.
signed the three pieces of legislation. The final one, they had to correct it. They didn't. The anti-money laundering, he made so much concessions. Yet, so the president has obviously shown that he is willing to reach out. He's willing to compromise, and no one can ever deny that.
I'll tell you another thing too. When I watch him and I watch the team, it's all about the team. We can have a good batsman, but he alone can't. We gotta watch the team. And when I look at the choice, for instance, of a prime ministerial candidate, I think that is so. I know Elizabeth. We work together. We're colleagues. You know what I'm saying? But when I saw them choose Elizabeth, I know they're going places. Number one, she's a woman. Number two, she's a dignified woman. I mean, she has represented us as the ambassador. She has been in the major agreements in this country. She's a woman that you can talk to, and more than anything else, she's a woman of integrity. There is no dirt on her, and this the only thing they can find is, and it's stupid, when I hear these things, it really upsets me. The woman talks about her years of abuse, and oh God, you're going to use that against her. So when I watch that, I know that, look, we're going somewhere. Elizabeth is, for me, and I don't want to hurt and offend anybody, I think she's the best choice. I think she is the best choice. So if you're going to go with a team, no? If you're going to pit the two teams together like we would do as kids when we grew up, you pick this one, I pick this one. If you pit the two teams, I got to go with the PPP, man. I got to go because the team look better to me. They look better to me. Ashni Singh, that's my guy, trust me. I mean, Ashni, you don't even know how much I really watch him and appreciate what he's doing. I've seen this guy, just manage this economy in spite of, just stay there and balance this boat and cause it. So when you look at the teams, I gotta go on the red team. I gotta go on the red team.
On that note, we'll take a short break and we'll be back.
All right.
We are living the change. I trust President Donald Ramotar and the PPPC to keep delivering on the things that matter to me the most.
President Donald Ramotar and the PPPC has created the environment for me to be financially stable at a young age. I trust them.
Welcome back. Just a reminder, you were looking at Re-elect Donald Ramotar. I'm your host, Romel Roopnarine, and Pastor Patrick Findlay, who is a national candidate for the People's Progressive Party in this elections, is my special guest. So, Pastor, I'd like to shift now, focus, and the issue of youths has been taking up a lot of attention of recent, especially as we head closer and closer to May 11th. And specifically regard to opportunities and the future of youths and so forth. Now, to my understanding, this government under President Donald Ramotar has been doing tremendous amount of work in providing opportunities for youths at all levels, and I think we need to stress that at all levels. For instance, could you care to share with us some information that you may have with regard to, like, for instance, the Board of Industrial Training?
Yes. The Board of Industrial Training is an entity run from the Ministry of Labor. The Board of Industrial Training takes the opportunity to assist, train youths who have been, who give them a second chance. We know that not every child that goes to school is prone to academia. So those kids who have not been doing, very well, rather than ending their dreams of a bright future, what we do, we create opportunities for them to be trained. There's a number of programs we've run across, and I want to stress that, across this country. Last year, we graduated youths from all the regions in this country. I remember going to Bartica and doing a large number of youths there. And the training that we're offering now is training that is not only for training's sake. We have done the skill survey. And for instance, like in the mining communities, Bartica, Linden, what we have now is training in heavy duty equipment. Why? Because those kids can have a better chance of going into the gold fields, whatever, and operate these excavators and those things. And mind you, those are big money. My understanding, them guys would get like $500, $600,000 per month, right? So we would train them. We've done that in Linden. We've done that in Bartica. We've been to New Amsterdam. We have a number of young people there. They do cosmetology. They do garment. Garment manufacturing, which we used to call seamstress and tailoring. There's a number of things that we do. Cake decorating. We do computer skills. In Cameroon, for instance, we did a number of things there, even with health personnel, and all of that. So the opportunity for youths now, we graduated about 4,000 last year, and as I speak, 23rd and 24th, which will be Thursday and Friday, we're going to Port Morant on Thursday, and we're going to Upper Quarantine on Friday to graduate a number of youths again.
Excellent.
And this is going to be more than 300 youths. Monday the 27th, we are graduating a number of youths again from the Guyana Forestry Commission. On the 30th, we're going into Anai, and we're going to graduate 70 youths again on skills. And we do things like masonry, we do things like carpentry, and that's not all. For masonry and for those other stuff that we're doing, cake decorating and all that, sewing and whatever, when they're finished with this masonry business, we don't lose them. We give them a mold, a block mold. We give them sand, we give them cement. In other words, we give them a startup. And the startup that they're getting is going to be able to help them to develop. And of course, when they're doing this training, there's a stipend, there's traveling. So all it costs them is the desire. If you got the desire, we will make the way. And we have done this all over. So for me, the youths have an opportunity now that has never been afforded. And the budget has risen from like 10 million to this year, last year it was 200 and something million. This year, 2015, there's a budget allocation for $251 million for this Board of Industrial Training. That's just one part of it. Then you've got Ministry of Education running the other program. There's a number of programs that have been run for youths. All you need to do is to get interested, get yourself together, and every youth can have an opportunity to enhance their lives and enhance their living. So the opportunity is there, and that's one of the things that His Excellency has impressed upon us. Against all odds, we are going to continue to help the youths. You know, we have programs going on in Deep South Roopnarine, North Pacorimus, South Pacorimus, all of these places. We're going in there. I personally have gone into those places, and we've set up people to do stuff. You know, one of the reasons why we're doing that, because the safari is going to get bigger and bigger, these safari years. So when we go up there, we want people to be able to provide the services. You cook, you eat, you provide, you know, everything, and that has been happening, and that's where we want to go with our youths. You know, the program with the heavy duty thing, it's a blast. We don't have people enough to supply the market as it comes. BK is waiting for us to train people and just let them off.
So there's a great demand.
Great demand. And if you never heard about it and you're watching us today, you better call the office and find out the opportunities that are there, because we want to help you to help yourself. It's there. This is not a case where you're getting trained and you park up and you're waiting. This is it's a roll off the mill. A roll off the mill. And we have seen kids smile, and we have seen them turn and get hope again. The Linden Technical Institute is working greatly with us, and these are some of the things we're doing for the youths, young people. Not only youths, not only young. We have something for single mothers. That's another big program where we train single mothers. People fall into stuff. They fall into stuff again. They listen to promises of these young men. You know what it's talking about. These young men promise them a world of stuff, get them pregnant, then leave. Promises broken, they're left now with the consequences of their choices, mind you. But we don't leave them there. We have graduated young mothers and taught them to do this garment construction and this pedicure, whatever you call it, all kind of stuff. You're right. We've helped them to do that. So they're not now helplessly waiting for another guy to come and make another promise.
Empowering them.
They're empowering them to take care of themselves, So these are some things. And I was very impressed when we went to Lenora. We're not only dealing with regular kids. We have made provisions now for the deaf and the dumb. It's awesome to watch that group of youths that are deaf and dumb, but still being trained to do stuff. That took my breath away when I went over to Lenora. Awesome. So, for me, we've got a lot of programs. We've got a lot of things happening with the youths. And a lot of youths, like I said, over 4,000 we graduated. And come this weekend, there are 4 graduations coming between this weekend and the 30th. And that alone is going to push out another 400 of young people and more as we get ready to cater for the youths of our community. We want to do that.
And these are the things that don't make the headlines.
No.
These are you have these little petty stuff, that are blown up, but the real hard work, as Mr. Granger says, he says donkeys or jackasses, right?
Yeah.
But this is the donkey work. This is the work that is going on behind the scenes to empower youths, to provide opportunities for them. And this is the thing that when we go there, obviously, and this is what I tell people, when you go out on May 11, that is what you're voting for. You're voting for what is not a one-off experience or what someone is telling you. You look around. I mean, you could see for yourself. You see every single day these things that are before you. Obviously, it's a reality. It's a reality of what's happening. That is what you're voting for. You're not voting for what people tell you. You must vote for us because historically your parents and your grandparents and so forth did that. You have to obviously vote for yourself, vote for your future. And I'm very glad that I had this opportunity to hear yet another aspect, another crucial aspect of what the government is doing for youths out there. And these are not University of Guyana youths or youths that, these are youths that would have ordinarily just fell away, would have been outcasts in society. Yeah. And you're rescuing them, giving them a future. And this is what the People's Progressive Party Civic is all about. And this is what you'll be voting to continue come May 11, 2015. Because I'm sure those thousands of youths that you were talking about, their ethnicities vary. Their communities vary, as Pastor just mentioned. Their economic standing, they vary. It does not matter. It did not matter which political party they voted before they could have gotten such an opportunity.
Exactly.
So congratulations once again, and I wish you all the best with that. But before we come to the close of this program, I have a very important question I'd like to throw out at you. You have been associated now with the People's Progressive Party Civic. This is your second time that you will be on the national list of candidates. At any time, and as a man of God within the party, because we know they carry all sorts of rumors out there, at any time have you been made to feel that you have to put your religion aside, or you would have had to feel uncomfortable, or you would have been restricted in practicing your religion within the People's Progressive Party?
None at all. None at all. None at all. I think one of the reasons why I am here today as a candidate on these 2 occasions is because the People's Progressive Party has a lot of regard and a lot of respect for the church. And when I was invited and asked to be on the list, it was such an honor. I have never been pressured. I have never been asked to do anything contrary to what I believe in. For me, I see this as embracing what I believe. I'm celebrated in the party. The party has never asked me to be anything less than a pastor. I have been able to do what I believe in, what I stand for. They've never asked me to do anything contrary. I think they respect, and it really breaks my heart when I heard the president ask the church to come together with him. I don't think this is about vote. This was before election. Ask them to, let's talk. Let's see how I can help. Let's see how we can include the church in this whole business. And when I see people backing off, and for me, I think they recognize, not for political gains and for votes, but the government recognizes that all facets of society, every religious arm of society has a role to play. And I've been asked, like I said, I've been asked. The funny thing is, I had no inclination, no leaning on the PPP. Trust me. When I was asked to do this, I was asked as a pastor, and I maintained my pastorship. I didn't campaign. I was asked because I am a pastor, because I am a man of God, and so this thing of I heard this so many times. I'm glad you raised it. I heard this so many times that it is, this is an ungodly party, this is a Kulima party, and they don't want a church, and they're going to shut down all the church, and they're anti-God. I don't know where they got that from. But for me, they've been there. They regard me, they respect what I'm doing, they respect the church. And I wish that the church will recognize Romans 13, verse 1 to 3, and understand that every authority that's been set up has been ordained by God. And every time we resist authority, we resist the ordinance of God. We're saying to God, you there up there and I there down here, and you don't know one thing what you're doing. You're giving us a man here, you're putting a man as president, you don't know this man. And I think that's an affront to God. I think God knows 20 years up the road. He knows all our lifetime before. I believe all our days are numbered. I believe that God has ordained Donald Ramotar to be the president, born in Carrier, to be the president at this time in our country. And my job, if I believe God, is to work with him, to lend him my shoulder, to pray for him, support him. Anything less than that is uncivilized and unchristian. And I don't care which part of the church you come from. That's why I'm here. I believe that they have regard, and I believe further that if the church will come together and help His Excellency and help him to do what he is mandated to do, because the Bible said that in 1 Timothy chapter 2, that we will have peace and we will have tranquility. But we can't fight him, we're fighting. God knows what he's doing. And I believe that the president is going to be re-elected, because I believe God is not done with him yet. That's why I want to urge my view of friendship today, my viewership. I want you to consider, let your conscience be your guide. I want you to consider and vote for the PPPC, because they're not done yet. They've got a set of things they got to do, and let's untie them and let them go and let them rule this country and invest in this country and be a blessing to this country, and let us enjoy it for now and for our grandchildren.
Thank you very much. On that note, Pastor Findlay, let me thank you. Very interesting conversation. I'm glad that we touched on some very, very critical issues. I do know that this would be welcomed by our viewership. Once again, you've been looking at our fourth series in the program, fourth in a series in the program, Re-elect Donald Ramotar. I'm your host, Romel Roopnarine, on behalf of Pastor Findlay. Let me thank you for the time that you spent with us. Goodbye.
See the signs of progress daily before our eyes. The joy feels so nice. No one can block our progress. One love for our country.